Hey, seventh graders, it's Mrs. Johnson. Today's Monday, November 30th, and I want to welcome you back from your nice long Thanksgiving break that you had. I hope that you got some time to hang out with your family and to rest a little bit and have some fun. We are going to be continuing our unit on ecology, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is today as we go through today's lesson. Okay, we have a new thing added onto the agenda here, so that you're going to see this bell ringer link every day. And what that is it's some different things that I'm going to have you do as people are joining the Google Meet, as people are coming into class, just to get prepared for what we're going to be doing today. So sometimes this might have you making copies or downloading things. And I know that on the Google Meets, sometimes the Google Meet makes everything load really slowly. So it might be a good idea to do the things that it says on here and then join the Google Meet, but it's kind of up to you however you decide to do that. So for today, you'll have two tasks. The first thing is we're going to be using a program called Insert Learning. And you used this last year in Minnesota Studies if you were here as a sixth grader. But what it is it's a way that we can read articles online. And so you need to sign up for our seventh grade science class. So if you go to insertlearning.com, you can click right on that link. You'll have to join with your Google account. And then type in this code, and this is a 0. So 0NMIND, and you should be joining our seventh grade science class. If it's not working and it says it's not installed, look up here and you should have a little purple thing that says IL for Insert Learning. If you do not have that, let me know. I'll have to figure out a way to get that installed on your Chromebook for you, okay? Once you've done that and joined our class, the second thing you're going to do is make a copy of this Biomes Graphic Organizer. This is just a document that we're going to be adding information to throughout the next couple of weeks. And when we do our invasive species wanted poster, I think that's going to be next week, you will use the information that you're collecting on here. So just make a copy of that and I'll explain it a little bit more later. Last week, prior to break, we started our ecology unit. We started talking about the characteristics of life, or the characteristics of living things. And so this is biology class or life science. And so we're focusing mainly on living things. We call those things biotic. Okay, but we also look at their interactions with non-living things or abiotic things. And so we're going to look at both of those pieces throughout the rest of this school year, but focusing mainly on the biotic or living things. Okay, so last week we talked about the characteristics of life, and you did the digital notebook where you had to identify the 6 characteristics of life. So I just want to see what you remember. So in this discussion post, I want you to make a post and just list the 6 characteristics of life as you remember them from doing the activity before break. Don't worry too much if you're wrong. This isn't graded. I just kind of want to see what you remember, and it will launch us into a discussion about what the 6 characteristics of life are. So if you are listening to this because you were gone from class, just hit pause and type this in. All right, welcome back. So the 6 characteristics of life or of living things are listed right here. So just a quick review. So the first characteristic is that living things are made up of cells. And we'll talk more about cells and what cells are composed of later on. The second one is living things grow, which means they get larger, and they develop, they change over time. 3, living things reproduce. Some living things reproduce asexually, where they might just divide and split into two identical things where the parent and the offspring are actually identical to one another. And some reproduce sexually, where they have 2 parents that produce an offspring that is different from the parents. 4, living things respond to stimuli. So they respond to both internal stimuli and external stimuli. 5, living things maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is a balance. We notice this sometimes if we're sweating or if we're shivering. That kind of goes with responding to stimuli and maintaining homeostasis. Or when your ears pop in an airplane, that's your body balancing out. So you can kind of think of homeostasis as balancing. And 6, living things need and use energy. So those are our 6 characteristics of living things. And we're going to be looking at each of those pieces throughout our the rest of the year that we're learning about living things. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is, and this is also prepping us for the rest of the next couple of weeks, we're going to choose a biome, okay? And when we click on here, as we're studying ecology, ecology is the study of how living things interact with one another as well as their environment, okay? And so we're going to be looking at some different biomes. And a biome is a large area that's characterized by its vegetation, soil, climate, and wildlife. So you should have already made a copy of this biomes graphic organizer. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that, okay? And then what you're going to do is you are going to choose a biome. So you can click on this Jamboard. Oops, there we go. Slow loading today. And in Minnesota, we have some major biomes. And so the first one is a coniferous forest. So we can think of that as pine trees. Okay. We also have deciduous forest. Deciduous trees are trees that lose their leaves in the winter. We have grassland and prairie. And then we also have freshwater aquatic biomes. And freshwater aquatic, actually, we find those in each of these other 3 biomes. Okay, so if you're choosing that one to focus on, you'll have to kind of look for information in the other 3 biomes. Okay, so what I want you to do is to place a sticky note with your first and last name on whichever one of these biomes that you are going to choose to study for the remainder of this unit. Okay. So go ahead and do that. You can pick whichever one you want. All right. So as you are looking for different information on your biome, and we're not really going to do this right now, you'll kind of be doing this on your own each day. So this is your biomes graphic organizer. So if you want to write the name of the biome that you chose, you can type that in right now. And then the rest of this information you'll be looking up as we go. If you're wondering where you can look up that information, there are some different links. So we have the deciduous forest, the coniferous forest, and the prairie grassland forests. As I said earlier, for the aquatic, you can look within these, and then those will give you information about different aquatic biomes. You can also use Google, but be really careful because remember, you want to make sure that you are using legitimate websites with factual information, okay? And I'll talk a little bit more about this as we get into it today. Okay. All right. So our focus, now we have all that done. Our focus for today, we're going to click on this Isle Royale video or link here. Our focus for today, our essential question is, what are the relationships between predators, which are the hunters, and prey, which are the hunted? In what ways can they affect one another? And so we're looking at how those 2 groups affect each other in an ecosystem. So the first thing you're going to do is watch this video on some wolves in Isle Royale National Park. And then I want you to think about, what role do wolves play in Isle Royale National Park and why is it important? After you watch the video, the next thing you're going to do is you are going to read the article called The Wolves of Isle Royale, and it's about the same wolves, and you're going to answer the questions as you go. So if you click on this link right here, it will open up eventually, and it should log you right into this Insert Learning. Okay, and Insert Learning is cool because we inserted things into it so that you can get some more information. And it is not opening for me because I must not be logged in. Maybe it's just loading. It's loading. Okay. It takes a minute to load. But what you'll notice as you're reading this article, you can, I don't know why it's taking so long. There are different questions that we put in, and you need to answer those questions as you go. Okay. So it says, as you're reading at the top, the top here, it says, as you read, Think about how changes in the wolf population affect other parts of the Isle Royale ecosystem, okay? And you do need to watch, if there's videos inserted, you need to watch those. And then you're just going to read through the article, okay? And as you get to questions like this one right here, you're going to type in and you're going to answer the question, okay? If you would prefer to listen to this, you can have it read to you. There is a text-to-speech right here. And it will read
the wolves of Isle Royale. With
the
scientists'
article
help,
to you.
an island's
Okay.
top predator is coming back from the brink of extinction.
Turn that off. Okay. So
By Kimberly E. Massabé.
Those are
as you read
your choices. Okay. So you're going to read through that article. It's a little bit long, but it's actually really interesting to see. There's some videos into it, or put into it to watch as well. Okay. So that's what you're going to be doing today. All right. If you end up with time, I feel like this is going to take the rest of your class time to do. There is also one more prompt on the bottom that says, on your biome graphic organizer, complete the following. Identify a predator-prey example from your biome and explain how a change in the predator population can negatively impact the prey population. If we don't get to this today, I might have you do this at the beginning of class tomorrow or add it into tomorrow's assignment. So depending on how time goes, I think that reading this article is going to take a big chunk of your time today. So if you have time, go ahead and do this. When you're doing these biome graphic organizers, you would want to click the links at the bottom of it to find out more information. Okay. Or you can do a Google search and you would type those answers. Those are these first 2 questions right here. All right. So those are your tasks for today. Sorry, it's kind of a long video, but let me know if you have questions. Pop into the Google Meet. Have a great day.